Hi, welcome to Pathways of Hope. The gospel message for today is taken from the Gospel of Luke, and we are finishing up our reading of the Gospel of Luke. As we enter into a new season, we're also preparing for the baptism of the Lord on Sunday. So the reading is part of the beginning of the ministry of Jesus Christ in the Gospel of Luke. So let me read to you the passage. It's Luke chapter 4, 14 and following, up to verse 21. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and a report concerning him went out through all the surrounding country. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified by all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and he went to the synagogue, as his custom was, on the Sabbath day. And he stood up to read, and there was given to him the book of the prophet Isaiah. He opened the book and found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who were oppressed, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord." And he closed the book and gave it back to the attendant and sat down. And the eyes of all in the synagogue were fixed on him. And he began to say to them, "Today the scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." End of reading. Now, if you don't know the background to this Bible passage, you might ask yourself, so what's the meaning of this? Well, first and foremost, Jesus is quoting from the prophet Isaiah. And in the prophet Isaiah's book, there was a promise of the anointed one. And what's the anointed one? Well, for them, kings, the ones who would rule, are anointed or filled with the Spirit of God so that they can rule on behalf of God. That was their understanding of what it means to be a political leader. You're also a religious leader. And it was a prophecy given at the time when Israel was not doing well. And so they were expecting the anointed one, or the Christos. Christos is just another word for the anointed one. The one who would rule for God's people, or on behalf of God, to bring about the restoration of the greatness of Israel. And the description was, if that happens, there will be no more poor people among God's people. Those who are captives, meaning under a foreign rule, will be released. They will be free. So this was something that the Jews were waiting for. They were waiting for the Christos, or another familiar word, the Messiah. And here, Jesus reads that scripture passage from the prophet Isaiah and just tells them, the scripture has been fulfilled in your eyes. So he was claiming to be the Messiah, the anointed one, the king. But then, of course, the doubters, the people who live where he was born, said, "But is this not Joseph, the carpenter's son? How can he be the anointed one? How can he be the great king that we are waiting for, the Messiah?" Now, what lesson can be learned from this passage today? Well, we Christians know that this prophecy has really been fulfilled. Jesus Christ is Christ, the anointed one. He is really the King who has come. And many of us who follow Christ have made a decision to put Him at the very center of our lives. And if He is at the very center of our life, we need to also join Him in His work of eradicating poverty, of setting captives free. He's asking us to join Him. One of the things that I think we Christians today would have to confront is this: the call to generosity, the call to respond to the movement of the Spirit. And what is that? To not close our eyes to the needs of the world around us, the needs of the people around us, especially the poor. It is a troubling and challenging experience for Christians today to hear this message. We don't like being bothered and being in our safe places. But the Gospel of Luke is a gospel that proclaims this truth consistently. We are called by Christ to join Him in this ministry, to liberate people, to help them find the Lord in their life, but not only that, to experience us providing for the needs of those around us. I hope that this declaration of Jesus, that the fulfillment of the prophecy of Isaiah is indeed in our lives. Jesus, the one whom most of us have made a choice to follow, may His call to liberation be also our call. Go out, do something, help those who are in need, help your neighbor, help your friend, anybody who is in need. A Christian is called not to close his eyes to the poor in our midst. God bless you.